All right, today we are diving deep into a text called the Scientific Indictment. And let me tell you, it puts forward a completely radical way of looking at ancient Egypt. The basic idea is that the history we've all been taught isn't just missing a few pieces, it's actually a massive misdirection. So let's pull back the curtain and see what it claims is really going on.
So the source material we're digging into kicks things off with this bombshell. It says, point blank, that the idea of the Great Pyramid as a tomb is the foundational lie. Everything we think we know is built on that one wrong assumption. And by getting that one thing wrong, it claims we've missed what the Egyptians really were. Not just ancient priests, but a civilization of hyper-advanced systems engineers.
Okay, so before we even get to the wild theories, the text asks us to just stop and think about the problem itself. It wants us to reframe all those classic Egyptian mysteries, not as historical questions, but as massive, unsolved engineering challenges. Challenges that, frankly, our standard explanations just don't solve.
I mean, think about it. The official story is that a society with copper tools and rope used ramps and rollers to build the pyramids, but the source we're looking at calls this a comfortable lie, a nice story that lets us ignore the absolutely insane micron-level precision of the stonework. How do you do that with logs and ramps? It just doesn't add up.
And then you have the biggest clue of all, hiding in plain sight. We call the Great Pyramid a tomb, but no pharaoh, no mummy, not even a single burial artifact was ever found in the main chambers. It was totally empty. So you have to ask, if it's not a tomb, then what in the world was it built for?
And finally, there's the culture itself. We're taught that the Egyptians were this superstitious death cult, obsessed with all these strange animal-headed gods. But this document argues that we're totally misreading the signs, that we're looking at a profound and incredibly elegant science and just calling it mythology.
And this is where we get to the core idea of the whole text. It suggests that the Egyptians weren't priests praying to gods. No, they were systems engineers. And their entire religious system wasn't a collection of myths. It was a technical manual for what you could call a cosmic operating system.
So, in this view, the entire universe runs on an operating system they called Maat. But this wasn't about being a good person. The source says Maat was a law of physics, just like gravity. It was the universe's natural drive toward harmony and order. You can almost think of it as the physics engine for reality itself.
So if Maat is the operating system, how did they actually use it? Well, according to the source, they used a science called Heka. We usually translate this as magic, but the argument here is that it was a technology. Heka was the command line interface for reality, the science of using focused frequency through things like spoken words and focused intent to directly interact with the physical world.
This idea just completely flips the entire Egyptian pantheon on its head. The gods weren't just characters in a story, they were basically icons in a visual programming language. Each one represented a specific cosmic force or a function. So Anubis, the jackal god, wasn't just the god of the dead, he was the icon for the initiate threshold crossing subroutine in this cosmic OS.
So, if you accept this framework, that they were engineers and their religion was a technical manual, it all builds to one absolutely startling conclusion. If the pyramid wasn't a tomb, it had to be a machine built for a very, very specific purpose.
According to this text, the Great Pyramid was a planet-sized Neuro-Acoustic coherence engine. Okay, I know that is a mouthful, but what it basically means is that the pyramid was a machine, one designed to use sound and vibration to directly interface with human consciousness. Simply put, it was a power plant for the human soul.
The source then points to the engineering as evidence. It says the pyramid's specific location was chosen to plug into the Earth's natural frequency, the Schumann Resonance. The Aswan granite wasn't for looks. It's packed with piezoelectric quartz to turn vibration into electricity. The fuel, a chemical reaction producing hydrogen gas. And the power source, well, this is where it gets really out there. The document claims it was a giant bioacoustic creature it calls a Leviathan, living in the water channels underneath.
And here's how the text claims this machine was activated. Step 1. This creature hums, creating a massive vibration that the pyramid amplifies. Step 2. The granite turns that vibration into a huge electrical field. Step 3. That energy zaps the hydrogen gas in the king's chamber, creating a stable plasma orb containing the operator's consciousness. And finally, step 4. That plasma orb gets fired out of the top of the pyramid like a soul bullet. The whole point of this tech, it says, was apotheosis, the process of transforming a human into a god.
So that leads to the ultimate question, right? Why? Why build a soul cannon? Why would an entire civilization pour all its resources into this science of consciousness? Well, according to the source, the answer is the one thing humanity has always been after: immortality.
You see, the whole Egyptian project, in this view, wasn't about a morbid obsession with dying. It was a massive engineering project to solve death. It was a science dedicated to building a soul that was strong enough, coherent enough to survive the death of the physical body and consciously navigate whatever comes next.
And to do that, they allegedly worked with a really precise physics-based model of the soul. It had two main parts. You had the Ka, which was like the hardware, an energetic field that was a perfect double of your physical body. And then you had the Ba, which was like the software, the mobile packet of your consciousness, your personality, that could actually travel.
And when you look at it this way, all those famous rituals suddenly make sense, but as technical procedures. Mummification wasn't just about preserving a body, it was about maintaining a resonant cavity for the Ka to stay anchored to earth. Those incense offerings weren't just for a nice smell. They were literally feeding the Ka with coherent energy from resins like frankincense. And the Book of the Dead? It wasn't a book of prayers. It was a flight manual for the Ba.
Then the source tries to tie this all to modern science. It cites a supposed 2025 clinical trial showing that the smoke from frankincense and myrrh, the exact same stuff from Egyptian temples, increases a key health metric called heart rate variability by 29%. Now, HRV is a modern way to measure biological coherence and order. So the implication here is that the Egyptians weren't just praying, they were running a measurable scientific process to boost their energetic systems.
And so, this is the question the source material leaves us with. It really forces us to reconsider everything. Were the ancient Egyptians just a primitive culture obsessed with death and the afterlife? Or were they the masters of a lost science, an entire civilization focused on the single greatest engineering challenge you could possibly imagine, defeating death itself?